Hello and welcome to the Project's Relax Talk. I am your host Smokey, and joining with me, as always, is my co-host Spooge.
You.
All right, so before we started recording, we kind of got into necro cannibalism.
Yeah, talking about the morality of it. I feel like it would only become a little bit more morally gray if like the person didn't want to be eaten. We'll say, let's put out the situation. You're on a fucking desert island. No one's coming for you. You got one person that he's passing away. We'll say in this scenario he's going like, oh man, I want to be I want a Catholic burial. I want to don't eat me. And then he dies, and you have no source of protein. You tried fishing, you tried looking for crabs and shellfish. You can't find anything. It's fucking deserted. It's a landfill fucking island, right? And the only source of protein you got there, the only source of any type of nutrients, no coconut trees, no nothing, is that body. What is the moral thing to do?
Well, that's a completely different stand. That's completely eat the fucking body out of survival. That is see, but we are talking about a living organism that hasn't developed the brain capacity yet to give consent or not. See that's the problem that we're dealing with. If that man could give consent to whether he was being eaten or not, since he wanted a Catholic burial, then no, that is not right to cannibalize him because he didn't consent to it. But is it? Can we say since you don't have the brain capacity to consent, would it morally be all right to just say, "Oh, it's okay"?
Yeah, and it's almost like, would it be the same if if he had a storage of food and then he said don't eat this and then died?
Oh, and then
Like,
just eat the
because
food.
become an object, right? Because anything of yourself is gone.
Yeah, your personality. A corpse does not hold a personality. Let's just lay that out there right now.
Yeah, the brain's dead. It's gone.
Yeah, so that is when you're actually cannibalizing. What I'm talking about though is what we were discussing. Would it be morally all right to just reabsorb your offspring at a because you find it's more I guess because since you decided that it was best for survival in general, then yeah, it would be morally right. But if we could just do it on a whim, would it be right for women to just say fuck it, I don't want to have this child, and then reabsorb it?
Yeah, that is an interesting one. I guess I feel like if the woman doesn't want it, there's probably a good chance that its life isn't gonna be the best. You
Yeah,
know?
yeah. I guess that it would be based on a case by case basis whether it was morally obligated or not. To be honest.
Yeah, yeah. Because I feel like, because are we assuming that then we'd have to assume at what stage would they be able to stop? Because I mean, with rabbits, rabbits are really soft bodied, especially when they're just born. They're sort of born underdeveloped, which humans are too, but not to that extent. So it's a
Yeah,
little bit easier, like for that to work. I'm just trying to think, but I guess if we just assumed you could, even at like 9 months, you still could absorb the baby. Then it gets a little bit more like morally gray.
yeah. It's a very interesting topic that we thought of that I'm gonna be mulling over for quite a while now.
Yeah, because I never thought about the cannibalism aspect of it. Because I've always had just like as the day I realized that or that I found out that rabbits could do that, I'm like, why can't if women could just do that, then there'd be a lot less of a debate, because men would just have to like assume. Because I feel like women can figure out that they're pregnant pretty early, so like even before it really starts showing, they could get it done.
Well,
You know,
according to the
just say
that
it's a
one,
period or something.
according to that one TV show that tracks down certain women, that you some women don't know they're pregnant until the day they go into labor.
Yeah, I've seen that too, and it's always someone who's super malnourished or it's someone who's morbidly obese, like almost morbidly obese.
Yeah, but being in America, that's, I hate to say, that's your majority of people. You're never gonna see, the majority of people are not going to look healthy way in
Because you,
America.
you better believe I know the story of the one of the huge woman that like went to the bathroom because she thought she had to take a wicked shit and she just popped out a baby in the toilet.
Oh, everybody's heard that fucking story. And oh shit, I am related to someone that has a similar story to it, but it wasn't a baby. It actually ended up becoming a fucking tumor that was coming out of her. Like, it was
Ooh.
a fucking huge ass tumor that was coming out of her. Yeah.
Okay, here's a scenario. If you reabsorb a tumor, is that sarcocannibalism?
Now,
Auto cannibalism. I mean,
are you
sarcophagy.
consuming your own personal flesh? That is what we're talking about, correct?
Yeah, that's what autosarcophagy is like. Yeah, in an extreme extent, the dude who like
I
ate a
don't
piece of himself,
I
cooked it.
don't believe I don't believe cancerous cells are considered your cells anymore. They're rogue cells that mutated in an unhealthy way and are no longer beneficial and just attacking your body.
But it's
So
still
it's a
your
form of
DNA.
cannibalism,
Your,
but I don't think it's self-eating. I think
Mhm.
since you're still eating human tissue and flesh, then yeah, it's but that cancer is no longer considered you, if that makes sense.
Mhm.
It's not considered a new living, or well, to be honest, it is considered it's considered a brand new living organism that we call cancer. So it's literally is it cannibalism if the human tissue mutates into something that isn't human tissue?
Hmm.
That is the question there.
That is true. But even if you would consider it technically human tissue, because what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to reconnect. If we're going back to the core of the fucking abortion debate, of like when does life start? If we could say that we could pinpoint an accurate point when we could say that life starts at X month, you know, if someone absorbs the child before X month, would it not be cannibalism then? Is it only cannibalism after X month?
Okay, so I'm very comfortable with saying that the human life is determined when the heartbeat of the child is detectable. Before then, you have an embryo that is still gestating and needs to develop a little more. I feel I don't feel that's can. I feel that is you just that is not cannibalism. That is just you reabsorbing your own self before it can become its own
Yeah.
self.
Mm-hmm.
Granted, there is half of the child that is not your DNA, though, but it's not considered cannibalism when an individual swallows
Yeah.
semen. So
Hmm.
that's null and void as well.
Yeah. So.
So no, I'm going to say if the child does not have a heartbeat, if it is before the heartbeat is detectable, that is the key. Now,
Mm-hmm.
that's sometimes the heartbeat's not detectable for a while, but they still have a heartbeat. That's the thing. The mother would have to develop a biological way to detect heartbeats within them, and if the child does not have a heartbeat, then yeah, free game, absorb that shit all you want. But if there's a heartbeat, then it's cannibalism, like straight up. But now, this is the thing. Is it wrong? Is it morally wrong cannibalism though to do what they're doing, to reabsorb to ingest their own child that's inside their body? Is it
Mhm.
morally wrong to do that?
I I would say that it would be heavily connected with abortion, and I feel like there is definitely should be like a somewhat of a
To
cutoff point during the ladder of like the brain development
I'm gonna
of
be
the child.
honest. If this was the case, if we could just reabsorb offspring, I do not think abortion would be an argument. I don't think we would be even thinking about abortion. We wouldn't
Yeah.
fathom abortion because why the fuck would you want to kill it? That would bring it up. Why would you want to rip the fetus out of the mother when the mother could just reabsorb the nutrients and everything and
I'm
just
only
have it that
bringing it up
way?
because it's like the closest moral thing to what we're discussing. Like I
Yeah,
think it
I
ties
get you.
into each other.
I'm just saying the abortion argument would be null and void if this was like it wouldn't exist. So
Yeah, but
it's
then
hard to.
you would have the argument of like when is it okay? Is it okay to even absorb it?
Yeah,
That'd
we
definitely
would
be a
that
statement.
would be the argument. It
And
would be
I feel like
to
the
be
morals
honest.
are the same.
To be honest, we would probably the definition of abortion would probably change from ripping the fetus out to just exorb that would be abortion would be the female absorbing like and then we would still be like, is it morally obligated for them to abort their baby?
Hmm. But yeah, so I would still say like as long as like what I'm trying to think if it was like 6 or 7 months.
I'd say heartbeat because sometimes the heartbeat develops way before that.
Yeah, but I'm not even saying about when life starts. I'm talking about when I think it's okay to actually get the abortion. I feel like
Three
if it's just a
months.
heartbeat,
Three.
child's brain isn't fully developed and they're not conscious yet. I don't think it's wrong for a mother to dip out of that.
I I'm kind of iffy when it comes to the organism having a heartbeat because just because it's not conscious and doesn't have the brain capacity to have consciousness yet doesn't mean. I mean, that would be the same for talking about we could it's the same argument. Is it morally right to put down an animal? You know, it 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 would be on a case by case basis, to be honest, because
But
sometimes
I'm
people
talking about like
because no, hear me out. Sometimes an animal has like that's the only option for the animal. Like if the animal doesn't get put down, the rest of its life it's going to be suffering, it's going to be miserable, and it's just But there are some dicks that literally just say, "I can't afford this dog anymore," and go and fucking have it put down.
yeah, I'd say that's not morally right. That's what I'm saying. But that is already a fully developed creature. That is its brain's developed. It is more conscious than the
But it
type of
doesn't. See,
child
I'm
that I'm talking
comparing it
about.
because it doesn't have the brain. It still has less brain capacity and consciousness than an actual human does. That's why I'm
I
making
mean,
the
yeah,
comparison. Because there
and
are animal, and I'm not just
and
talking about
babies after
dogs.
6 months
I,
do
I'm not just
too, and
talking about
I
there.
still
There
think
are
that's good.
animals out there that have no consciousness whatsoever and are unaware of their surrounding, like worms and shit. And that would like I can't harm a worm. Like I'm empathetic to worms, even though they so in anything that has a heartbeat to me, I just I have a little empathy towards because that thing is a living organism and a living organism does deserve. I hate saying this. It does deserve a chance, but that chance shouldn't forego the health of the mother. That is
Yeah,
my ultimate like. If it's 100% unhealthy for that child to be born, don't let the child be born. Do not kill the mother for the child.
yeah, because that's one thing that we're gonna be honest with is that both of us are never going to be put in a situation where we're going to have to give our bodies to develop and push out a living organism that
No.
is literally draining us.
Like I said, I'm completely pro choice. I am 100% pro choice.
Mm,
I 100% believe it is the woman's body. They have whatever say they want with that body. We don't get, like, nobody else, not even another woman, gets to say what another woman does with their body. That's just wrong.
mm-hmm. But yeah, just trying to think of like if technical moral stance.
I just have I just have empathy when it comes to heartbeats, and when it comes to a heartbeat being present, I would prefer the case be if the mother was going to abort. I would be more comfortable with knowing that it was more out of medically a medical necessity instead of her just believing she might not be able to take care of the child, because there are other I know the foster care system and the other avenues are not perfect, but there are other avenues in order for that child to have a chance without
Mm,
you sacrificing your own financial gain or financial needs or whatever you want to do. It's a little selfish that you're thinking that way, in my opinion, but
I don't know. I feel like it's a viable thing to consider, and especially in America, where you're not going to get full support of that, and it is going to be a financial drain, and the
yeah.
child's life isn't going to be wonderful because of that.
That's completely understandable. I just feel if that is the case and the pregnancy is far too long, then the child should be born and should be given to the proper channels to handle appropriately instead of just outright killing it. Because I'm like I said, like I keep stating, I'm very empathetic when it comes to a living organism having a heartbeat. I don't know
Mm-hmm.
why. That's just something that's been beaten into me and indoctrinated into me. A heartbeat is something that does symbolize life, and it's snuffing a heartbeat out. It that it
Well, this
just it
this
sounds
makes me
bad.
think of a weird diversion we could go into, um, because this is something that they are experimenting with now, growing body parts by themselves, including hearts. Is is basically a lump of flesh that with a heart that is made that is grown to be used as a transplant. Is that a living thing? Has no conscious, no brain, just stimulated by machines and like basically like a
No,
synthetic way of.
that's literally that's a organ that's literally organs just being preserved by
Because
machinery.
my main thing is that everything that is human is in the brain. That is who we are. That is
Yeah,
what makes all those decisions.
that that's
Uh,
com- that
Not
is
counting all the
true.
bacteria that influence our brain, but that's a whole different thing.
But we are that is us. We can't. I don't feel we can put the same standards we do for a fully developed human on a still developing living organism. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying living organisms because it's not a human yet. I fully understand that there is a there are stages that you go through. You're an embryo, then you're a fetus, and then I fully am with that there is a point in time where you do form into the human being, and
Mm-hmm.
before that time, yeah, it's I'm fully for it. I just feel when the heartbeat is detectable, I feel the brain probably does have some development going because it needs the heart. The brain needs the heart in order to survive and function and everything. That is the Yeah, everything is in our brain, but our brain does not live without the heart. So
Hmm.
I feel the heartbeat is a very good indicator of when consciousness starts forming, and I just feel that is like very heavy to just feel like snuffing out a consciousness while it's forming.
Hmm.
I just that's heavy.
Hmm. Because and then you could also argue. I mean, brain doesn't also function without lungs, without you know, the nervous system.
Yeah, yeah, you need yeah you definitely need the heart. The nervous system, I'm not. The nervous system is more survival reflex, so we feel pain and we avoid pain and shit.
Well, and it's also what tells your heart to do what it needs to do. It's what
Yeah, it
your
sends the
brain
signal.
tells it.
It
Yeah.
sends the receptors to, yeah. It makes you feel and stuff. Like I'm saying,
Hmm.
like the heart. There are obvious organisms that do not have organ that I am. What I'm trying to state is there are examples of living organisms without nervous systems, but they still have fully functioning organs and stuff. The nervous
Hmm.
system isn't necessary for our 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 system, but it is a very well developed survival mechanism for us.
Yeah, and I also think, I mean, because, but I'd say also the lungs are like that, but then also the heart. I feel like they're all equal in that, and the importance of the heart came from like even Roman, and I think even in like old fucking Babylon stuff, when people thought that our consciousness and our souls were in the heart.
And I'm not gonna lie, I kind of understand why they felt that way. Um,
Yeah.
Perfect example. Whenever you're upset, whenever you feel depressed or anything, does your head hurt or does your chest hurt?
Yeah, I
It's your
mean,
chest. You
whatever.
feel it in your chest. So
Mhm.
I get that they felt it in their chest, so they assumed it was in their chest.
Yeah. Yeah, it's your in it, but it is your brain that is fucking up the signals down to it, and that's the
Yeah, I'm just
reaction.
stating. I'm just stating that there's a obvious cause. There's obvious correlation to why they believe that. It's.
Yeah,
I mean,
but
you
it's
ain't got to
something
be a
that's
rocket
stuck
scientist.
around even with science pointing to otherwise. So that's the whole importance of the
Yeah,
heart. That's
but
why I
you're comparing the Roman scientists and their level of knowledge to ours, and I feel that's a little unfair.
no, I think it's fair when people still put importance on the heart today, despite science. You know what I mean?
But I put importance on everything, but yeah, I get what you mean. But I see why it's still prevalent. Why as uh, a very oh what the fuck? Never mind. My bad.
Mm-hmm.
I lost my train of thought because
Oh,
my
you're all good. No, you're saying the importance of the heart.
yeah, okay, yeah. The importance of the heart is because it's seen as such a vital organ. No one, everybody takes for granted. I hate to say it, everybody takes their lungs for granted because you do breathing automatically. You don't have to think about it whatsoever. But your heart, your heart's very.
Yeah, it's not something you could consciously control. And
I'm gonna need it.
oh, you're good. But mainly, my thing was that I think it's weird that because the way that George does it of saying that life starts at the heartbeat, I still feel like you should be putting more importance on the brain development of that instead into account. That's the only thing I think should be taken into account. I think if you're going to make a law based on science to That's my main point of why I believe where I believe life starts. You know, and I guess, but I mean, technically, and I would agree, technically, life does start beginning at the zygote thing. I mean, you don't.
All right,
I don't.
so
If we're going technical on to what life is, you actually don't need a heart or a brain or a. You just need a. You need cells. You need living cells. You
yeah,
know, they're
see,
already living things.
well, let me get back to let me get back to my point that the importance of the heart. So sorry about that.
Hmm.
But what I was trying to say is the reason why we deem the heart so important and we take the lungs out of consideration most of the time. You don't feel your lungs. Like, it's very rare. Like, when you feel a sharp pain in your lungs, yeah, you get it treated immediately. But with the heart, it's questionable. When you feel your chest pain, you grab your chest and you're like, oh shit, and you wait for a minute. You never you're always contemplating your heart because you feel your heart a lot more. I know for a fact I feel sharp pains in my heart, and I'm only 26, and that bothers me, that worries me, and it's just something that I'm constantly thinking about because I do feel my heart. You can feel it.
Yeah, like heart palpitations are intense. Yeah.
Like, and that's just when you can feel something constantly, you're constantly going to be thinking about it and you're going to put importance on it because you know for a fact you have to protect this one vital organ. We have to protect all our vital organs, but the heart's the only organ we truly feel. Your
Hmm.
stomach pains aren't really your stomach hurting. It's literally something in your stomach irritating the acids in it, fucking it up.
Hmm.
It's never just something poking your you don't eat if
Unless you have an ulcer.
well, yeah, but that is a tear, that's a literal tear in the tissues. What I'm trying to say is when you swallow chip, you can't feel the chip stabbing against the walls of your stomach.
Hmm.
You know, by the time it gets down to your stomach, it's not even sharp enough. It's there's not even going to be a point to. But you don't feel the chicken. You don't feel anything sloshing against your stomach. You might feel it go down your esophagus when it's not opened up properly. But I just feel that's because your esophagus doesn't. You don't even really feel yourself swallow too tough.
Hmm.
If we, I would, I guarantee if we could just naturally feel our other organs more, we would care about them a lot more.
Yeah.
And that's what I was trying to say. I was trying to get that out.
Gotcha. Gotcha.
And I fully agree with you that you don't really need um a heartbeat or a brain or nervous system to be considered a living organism. You just need
Yeah,
cells.
and and I did clarify that that's not even what the debate about. It was about conscious life,
Yeah, okay. So that's a whole do
and
I
that's what we've been talking about, and that's what we until I just made that thing that distinction. That's what we've been debating because
yeah,
yeah, but like already, I just wanted to clarify that we are talking about conscious life, not
gotcha.
the actual like full on scientific term of like what life is, where you're like people are debating whether or not DNA is alive, you know, or sorry, viruses.
Yeah, that's a completely different debate that I don't want to get into, honestly.
but
But
mainly
yes,
I was saying that conscious life is around the brain.
yes, conscious life does center around the brain. The only reason why we don't put the brain into as much consideration as we do the heart and put it second to the heart is because we feel the heart and we don't feel our brains. I mean, we do get headaches and stuff, but that is not your fucking brain. That's the veins in your head that's fucking got too much blood pressure in them and it's causing immense pain.
Mhm. Unless you have like some brain tumor, then you actually fucking need to get fucking help.
Yeah, but that's another outside source. That's the thing. That's an outside source poking. That's not your
Mhm.
actual brain. You're never going to actually feel your brain.
Yeah.
You can't sit here like people that's listening to this can't sit here and like focus as hard as possible to feel their brain inside their skull. You're never gonna do that.
What's weird is that you kind of can, but there's not like pain indicators because I've heard a lot of brain surgery, you're required to actually be awake and conscious for it because a lot of times it's too dangerous to put you in sedation, so that they'll definitely numb you too, so like you're not feeling all the skull shit. But a lot of people do say like it's a weird sensation. They could feel the people poking around in their fucking brain, and it's really like a odd sensation. It's not
I
painful, but
I
it's
feel
definitely
that is
something.
just I feel that is evidence to how conscious our brain actually is.
Hmm.
Like I feel that is symbolized. Like if our brain wasn't inside our skull, our brain would still be very aware of its environment.
Yeah, if you put it in a jar and you actually like had the like a machine that would give it the nutrients and the blood flow and everything that it needs, yeah,
Yeah,
it would still.
yeah. If the technology existed today, you could 100% preserve a human brain.
That's also that's part of my thing too. It's like you transplant a heart, you're not becoming that person. But if you transplanted the brain, you know, then you'd be transplanting another consciousness into, you know.
That is, yeah, that is a good point. Even another good example. They finally put a pig heart inside a human, and it's running successfully. That didn't make the human a pig.
Yeah, and they've even before that, like they always did blood transfusions with pigs too because of how close they are, how of like their of how their just flesh and blood is like,
So
which
yeah,
is weird because they don't have a close relation to us. But yeah, that's I know a lot of anti-evolution people will use that as evidence that the evolution is bogus, but they don't know about. They also never consider divergent evolution as a thing where something of completely different paths can develop like a lot of similar
I
uh,
hate to say it,
attributes
but if
for their niche.
evolution is a thing, then there is a 100% possibility of of two different organisms starting at two completely different points and ending up at the same exact species years later.
Mm.
It is
Yeah.
possible. This is the thing, and we will actually kind of get into this in our next in the next relax talk we're gonna record.
Mhm.
But the evolution is not formulaic. It is chaotic as fuck.
Yes.
Like there's so many there's so many there's so I get environment is a strong factor to influence evolution, but even then the environment isn't going to dictate how you evolve exactly. It's just going to dictate what evolves in you.
Yeah.
It,
It's like is this little mutation, if it's being passed on and then it's developing, then and it's benefiting, then it will be passed. You know.
and unfortunately not even the beneficial mutations pass on. Sometimes the non-beneficial mutations pass on and they
Mhm.
grow and they start going and then you just have a weird mutation.
Yeah. Like honestly, one thing that everyone has of that wisdom teeth.
Oh,
They
don't
cause
even.
more issues than they because it used to be before you didn't have dental care at a point, and most of your teeth would be fucking gone by the time that they're popping up.
Man, well, I know that when it comes to teeth, uh, especially the fucking wisdom, I have 2 holes in my fucking jaw now because of my wisdom teeth.
Mm-hmm.
Because my wisdom teeth naturally, my 2 bottom wisdom teeth naturally popped out on me.
Mm-hmm.
Thank Lord though,
And some,
because I was getting
mhm.
fucking migraines like a motherfucker.
And very rarely, sometimes people will have a successful, like if they lost certain teeth or if it just grows right.
You just
Sometimes
have,
they'll just have their wisdom teeth and it'll be fine.
yeah, you have enough room in your mouth. You just have to have enough room in your mouth for them.
Mm-hmm. But not only do wisdom teeth, even if you like, it doesn't even say like it's not even it's like, oh, I lost all my teeth, so wisdom teeth are going to be beneficial. That's not even always the case too, because a lot of times they grow wrong.
Oh, 9 times out of 10 they're gonna grow wrong because 9 times out of 10 you don't actually have enough room in your mouth. Most people think they have enough room in their mouth, but you don't. Some
Yeah,
people,
I got
some people like
three
me,
developed ones in my mouth right now that push into my gums.
yeah, I have 2 that's fully they've fully revealed themselves. They're out. They've penetrated my gums. I could actually probably just go get them pulled. They're
Oh,
my top.
and
They
then I have
they
one that popped up and then went back under, which I'm most concerned about.
Oh, my 2 bottom were starting to pop up, but they didn't pop up right. But for some one day, like I felt like a crack. I felt it
Oh,
in the right side of my and it just like the pieces just like fell out of my gums. I was like, holy shit! Like it's like my mouth literally was like, fuck this, and crushed the wisdom tooth and ejected it out. And it happened on the other side too. It was crazy because I would, and it happened. I would start getting migration, like I would start getting the migrations a little bit from them, but it
Mhm.
wasn't It didn't get too bad to the point where I had to go to the dentist, and then it just that crack happened, and it was like, oh, instant relief.
It's rare, but I always love when the body does what it needs to do.
Yeah, it
When
was
it fixes
very
a problem that
weird.
it had.
Like I didn't expect that. I wish it happened on my top side, but I just don't have enough gum. I will
Mhm.
say I have recessive gums on the top side of my mouth,
Yeah, because
which is
what I
very
also learned something
annoying.
that your body can do too. Because I looked it up one time because I got paranoid one time when my breathing was weird. Uh, that I saw that uh, sometimes a partially collapsed lung is a thing when you just get one, and usually the doctor isn't going to do anything. They just say keep it easy and it'll reinflate itself.
Yeah, yeah. I'm not. I experienced that when I was a kid skateboarding one time.
Mm.
Like that, and it oh, that was scary. That was
Mm.
scary.
Same with cracked ribs. Like they rarely ever do anything unless it like jabbed into an organ. They just say it's just gotta fucking fix itself.
Yep.
Just keep it easy.
Yeah, yeah, and that's cool because the body will naturally fix itself most of the time.
Yeah.
Ah,
And sometimes it fixes itself just enough.
yeah, yeah, just enough,
Most
but
of the
not.
time. It's like, yeah, you're gonna live, but you're gonna have excruciating pain throughout the rest of your life.
Which that is just signs that evolution is not formulaic and it's not perfect. Because if it was formulaic and perfect, I feel by now we would have developed a way to like not break our bones at least.
Mhm.
Like are I feel we would have developed to where we, no matter what, we have enough muscle mass to make sure our bones are completely perfectly preserved without being overweight or anything.
Mhm.
And that's just not the case.
The best evolutionary thing to do is to be sort of good at everything. I think just being kind of a jack of all cards, even if you don't do it the best, is the best way to do it because you could see with we'll look at Australia. For before there was any introduction of invasive species, all those species did very well. They were perfectly evolved for the area that they were in. You know, until you started introducing more. You started introducing rats and foxes and like other predators, and they just weren't ready for that. you
And
know,
now Australia's a fucking nightmare.
hmm
Like they have like
because
the
a
most
lot of those
nightmarish
animals are so
animals.
super specialized for those niches, and the slightest push away or like the slightest divergence of their environment fucks them up because they're super specialized for everything to be how it's supposed to be.
Yeah, and completely understand that completely.
Because I
I
mean,
have a question.
yeah,
This ain't really important, but I'm gonna be mulling this over. What am I gonna fucking call this episode? Because this ain't an extra relaxed talk.
it's a relaxed talk. I mean, I feel like we haven't really been on one subject.
Yeah, but you think I could just like I don't want to label this an extra relaxed talk. It's not an extra relaxed.
Maybe just a regular relaxed talk then.
But I need a title. I'm just gonna
Life.
say anatomy. How about that? How about that? Anatomy.
I feel like, eh, yeah, you could do that anatomy, or you could just put life.
Life. Oh yes, that
His life finds a way.
life. Yes, life. That perfect. All right, cool. I just needed to get that out of the way because that was
Yeah, yeah.
bothering me for a second. I was like, what in the fuck am I gonna title this?
But yeah, but also going back to Australia, like even their natural predator that they have, one of the few ones that they have, dingo, still wasn't introduced at least until the very first humans were there. So
Oh shit, I didn't even know that.
yeah, they were
Is the
brought with
dodo
like the
bird from
Aboriginals,
fucking Australia?
huh?
Was the dodo from Australia?
No, dodo is on a specific island.
Gotcha, gotcha.
Uh,
I wish we got to see the dodo bird. They would have been something. They'd been a great
I,
pet.
I would have loved to see them. I would have loved to see. Fuck! I wish I could remember what those. They're like giant dugongs, and they like went extinct around like 1600s, um, from hunting. Uh, and the moa bird. The moa.
Narwhals still exist, right?
Narwhals still exist. Yeah.
Okay. That's what
But
you were
the
talking
moa
about for a second.
moa used to be the largest bird, like the largest bird.
I wouldn't want. I'm sorry, but I'm scared of the cryptid stories of large birds picking up humans and
But
shit. I don't want
they were
large birds
basically.
running around. That no.
But what's good about them? They weren't predatory. They're basically giant ostriches, and they went extinct like 1800s from
Oh
hunting.
what?
Yeah, they're just like
They
super
they were
fucking huge
flightless.
ostriches.
Are you saying they
Yeah,
were
they're
flightless?
flightless.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay. That's a different
they look
story.
exactly like emus, except like on steroids, and they're like fucking almost like 9 feet, 10 feet tall.
I would have been that's scary as shit, but yeah, that'd been cool to see.
It wouldn't be any more or less scary than like a buffalo, and honestly, it'd be less scary than a buffalo, because if they're anything like emus and ostriches, all you have to do is stand your ground, and then they'll run away from you.
See, this is the problem though. A fucking ostrich is bigger than me, and I have that kind of slight fear. That's my problem with horses. Is I'm deathly
Oh,
terrified of this animal because
ostrich,
if
ostrich
it
would snip
knew
that out of you.
an ostrich could kick the shit out of me, dude.
Yeah, but all you have to do is, I could do it because I've done it with dogs before. You just stand their ground, and you just kind of push them away, and they won't even usually won't even try to kick you or anything. They'll just run away.
What about peck you with their big ass fucking beaks?
Mm.
Like I don't want that fucking shit hitting on me.
I don't know. I've seen a lot of ostrich farming. it's
If they're
and
not peckers, that's one thing, but I feel they're peckers. I don't know why, but something with their beaks tells me they fucking peck.
yeah, but as long as you establish yourself early as the alpha, they won't fuck with you. They'll do some charges, but because I've seen the dudes who like collect the eggs because That's what they have to deal with when you're farming ostriches for their eggs. The male is always going to be protecting the egg, so you
Oh,
actually
that's
have to go
nice.
up in there and grab the egg while there's like an ostrich like flexing on you.
I like how reptilians and aviary species have evolved from basically the same animal, and yet one is very parental and the others don't give two shits about their offspring.
Yeah, what's funny too is that it's most reptiles don't until they do. uh, and one consistent, very caring parent of their offspring is crocodilians.
Crocodilians.
Yeah, alligators, crocodiles, caiman. That's
I never
that's
heard
why
of
like you
crocodilians.
never pick
What is
you
it?
never
Is a okay?
huh?
I'm going to assume a crocodilian is a mixture between a crocodile.
Crocodilian is like saying primate. Like you know how we're like humans are primates, chimpanzees are primates, gorillas are primates.
Oh, okay,
Crocodilian
okay, I get you. I did not know that. I did
diverges
not know. See,
to alligators, crocodiles, and caiman and gargoyles
why didn't you get your degree in animal science again?
because of math. Because of math, because I had to because it was required to have to have calculus.
Good damn it! Good damn it!
And I'm a horrible student. I
Like,
don't want to do the work.
the fuck?
It was also just knowing that if I even struggle to put all that through, I it wouldn't be financially stable.
Oh, but you could be fucking working for National Geographic and like going on expeditions and watching animals for like days on end. I always wanted to.
Yeah,
I'm not gonna lie. I always wanted to be on one of those teams that like go like photograph and film animals. I just want to do that for like a year or two. That would be really
yeah.
cool.
I don't give a shit. Just an excuse to be fucking around in the woods and seeing shit. Yeah,
Yeah, see that like I always wanted to do that. I was always interested like because I know that it's kind of like long, boring, and grueling, but
but
maybe
no, I
maybe
pop popcorn and put it in buckets.
not. I wouldn't be trying to. I don't think that would be. I don't think like human foods would be allowed to not I think you have to try to not disrupt the natural environment as possible.
Mhm.
And
Yeah,
popcorn's definitely going to do that.
yeah.
uh,
But yeah, with crocodilians, though, it's why you never pick up a baby alligator in Florida. It'll go, "Arr, arr," and its mother will come fucking running for it because its mother is always going to be nearby. And they've even shown that for a while too, that like even if it's not the mother of that crocodile, it'll still get those parental instincts and still want to protect that baby as long as
Holy
it's.
shit. That is,
I
that
mean,
is
then after it gets to adolescence, then it's kind of like free roam to like eat it. But as long as they're babies, they're heavily protected, and they have. I mean, that noise sends a charge response to the mother to start charging. I've
gotcha.
just look up. There's like so many good videos of people fucking around in Florida, like picking up a baby alligator, like,
Yeah,
oh,
I've
look at
seen those
this,
videos. I've seen plenty of those videos.
and then I'm just like you see in the water, just like charging at them,
Yes. Oh
or like
shit.
Steve Irwin when he's trying to like check on the nests, they would always have to have someone distracting the other one. But there is
Gotcha.
even there's a it's and it's but that's a consistent thing. There's not alligator species. There's not a crocodilian species that doesn't do that.
Gotcha.
With
Yeah.
snakes, it's very mostly it's you hatch out and then you get the fuck out. You know, except for there is a certain one that will actually wrap around its eggs and protect and keep them warm even a little bit after their birth too. There are snakes like that.
Yeah, there are. Yeah, I know about that. I know a little more about snakes because they're they're my natural enemy.
Mhm. But it's something you don't see common in reptiles because mainly with reptiles, unlike mammals, they come out fully developed as like just miniature versions of the adults. So once they get out of their egg, like there's a video of like the bunch of these iguanas hatching, and they have to run through like a fucking like barrage of snakes that know when they're gonna hatch, and they're all waiting to snuff them out before they
Oof.
get to the safe area.
Oh yeah,
And
yeah. I know exactly what you're. I know. I've seen.
they have all those reflexes,
That was on
all those movements
What was that
of
on?
an
What was
adult.
that? What program was that on? Planet Earth.
Was it on one of the Planet Earth ones?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I think so. I
definitely.
think it was on the newest one. I actually watched it. That was like the one of the first things I watched on my 4K TV just to.
Yeah, David Attenborough was definitely narrating it.
But yeah. I'm actually probably gonna watch that again. You done got me in the mood to watch some Planet Earth shit.
look up look up Snoop Dogg reacting to it. It's pretty good.
Yes, I already know exactly what you. I've already seen that. Yes.
But yeah, that's why usually parental things isn't really like a thing that gets passed down because it's usually not needed because it's like that they're already ready to go. You know,
Gotcha.
with mammals we we have to produce them like partially unfinished.
And I hate
Look at
to
rats, like rat
I hate
babies.
to
They're all
say it.
pink,
The
blind.
I have a. I'm not gonna state who, but I know a good example of you. You don't always develop your parental instincts right when your child is born as a human being.
Yeah.
Sometimes, unfortunately, it takes like 5 years sometimes, and then you'll
Hmm.
get this sudden urge, and you be like, "What in the fuck is this?" And
Hmm.
you won't be able to really explain it until you just come to terms with it.
Hmm. And in a more extreme extent, a lot of mothers will get postpartum depression, and it'll totally just be a total like psychic disconnect from their child.
Not postpartum depression can actually lead to suicide. That's a very serious subject.
Yeah, but it is a malfunction, of that instinct,
Yeah, it is. And it's also the body going through a depression of the child not being in the body anymore.
Hmm.
That's also a correlation to it.
And a lot of sometimes there is like
And
other factors too.
of course, when it comes to postpartum, no, you're not gonna like. You might have similar experiences, but each individual is different, and you won't experience postpartum depression exactly the same as someone else. Something
Hmm.
will be different.
Some people work through it better.
Some people work through it better. Some people don't accept it at all, and unfortunately take their lives. Some people snap and they don't take their lives, but they will take the child's life. It's varying
Hmm.
degrees. It's that is a that is something that I had to actually worry about during my time.
Hmm.
Afterwards, I had to watch out for her like a hawk, and that was very annoying because wasn't trying to talk to me at the time, and I understand why, but it was definitely a fight with it that I had to stick with even after the fact.
Hmm. Yeah. I mean, I just think of all like there's so many stories of like in Victorian times too of just like women just being like, you know what, you're the maids now. I don't want you.
Yeah, but to be honest, we've gone on long enough.
Yeah. Hmm.
We got a couple more stuff we have to record, so we're gonna have to wrap this one up. If
Hmm.
you've been listening this long, thank you so much. Please like or comment dislike on the video. Share it around, put it on Reddit or something. Subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications. Um, what's the rest of the spiel? I forgot rest of the spiel.
Well, I guess in the comment section, fuck. uh, uh, what do you? What's your stance on cannibalism?
Oh,
Specifically necro-cannibalism.
I just remember. Go, and after you go put that comment, go check out some more of our content. We have some more. We have let's plays. We have more relaxed talks, and we have Loose Butthole Reviews, which is TV show and movie reviews. I haven't been doing this for almost a year now or anything. This will be a bye bye.
Bye bye.